Hello and welcome to Blockbusters. This week we're doing Batman, the Batman saga. Being brought to you here at 3:45 in the morning at my end of the UK because I'm going down to London and I live in the Midlands, which is quite far away. 4 hours by road and 2 hours and a half on train, which is what I'm doing. But I've also got to get to the nearest big town, which is Burton on Trent. For anybody who cares, and I know you don't. But I'm going down because I'm going to the London Expo, which is a convention for films, comics, TV, sci-fi, manga, all that stuff. People dress up and they call it cosplay conventions. And I buy a suit lying around because, for those of you who don't know, I make films. I hope to go to the next level, but at the moment I make amateur films, mainly fan films. I did my Undertaker one for WWE, and now I'm working on a Batman one and improving on everything that I got wrong with the Undertaker one, basically. And I had a very expensive suit that I paid a lot of money for to put together, lying around of the comic version of Batman. So I was like, hey, if everybody else is doing it, I may as well go as Batman. And there's a Two-Face going, there's a Dark Knight Joker going, so it should be fun. But speaking of which, ironically, we're doing Batman this time. We'll go on to doing Star Wars eventually, probably during the week or next weekend or something, because I got to go for my taxi in about an hour and 45 minutes. I got to go for my taxi, I think. Or, yeah. But again, this week I am joined by Frank.
Hello everyone, welcome to a new episode of Blockbusters, and we're covering Batman as of today. Something really, ironic to what Carl just said to you.
Yep, and my mask that I bought is actually the Michael Keaton version of the mask. I mean, I cut the yellow bit off because I've already got the grey suit with the emblem on because I'm going as the comic version. But I had the Michael Keaton mask, which leads into the first one. Well, there was Batman before this. There was the the old camp version that had people for years thinking that's what Batman was, because of those who didn't read the comics. Because even in the comics at that point, he was like that. He was a comic character, and they basically even took it that step further in the TV series, which had a film. I believe it was Batman, called Batman, but it was released in theatres actually, but it's never really counted. Low budget, Adam West, shark repellent spray, that kind of thing. But nevertheless, I take it, Frank, you've seen that version of Batman.
Yes, I've actually seen pretty much everything about TV series and stuff, live action and animated. But yeah, it was certainly when you compare it with the movies and stuff, I actually prefer the animated version.
I do actually agree with the old animated series from the early 90s. Fantastic. The best representation of Batman from comics on screen was that animated series. That Joker by Mark Hamill in that version is amazing. What's his name? Just the voice for Batman. I forgot his name now. God, I know these names and then they just escape me. Well, basically the guy who does Batman's voice, does Bruce Wayne's voice, he does it amazing in that series and stuff. But nevertheless, Batman got serious, because originally he was a serious character in the 30s. He's that old. And then it kind of went a bit kiddie and went off on a tangent, and then went camp and, robbing in pixie boots and shit like that. But then it got serious, because somebody said, hey, you know what, the comics have got serious now, because in the 70s and 80s the comics got really serious and got back to the root of the character. The 70s comics were fantastic, although Batman was still blue. I'm not sure I like the blue version of Batman. He's in a lot of the versions, but it used to be it used to be the standard thing that blue was the highlight for Batman, but for black in comics. But then people started expanding it, so now he's like a blue suit and he's only black when it's in the shadows or something. A bit bizarre. I prefer the purely black version myself. But of course, by this point, about 10 years they tried to get this film made. Batman 1989 started production in 1980. And they were just kind of, because this was one guy who was teaching at university who said, well, Batman, he's a great character. The tormented character, his parents are killed and all that stuff. That's a great character, and those, you can have those monolithic gothic images of him because he's a dark character, a dark, serious, brooding character, and let's do a film about that. And people were like, what? That's Batman? Okay then. And then they just kind of dawdled around. But then, in 1986, Frank Miller's Dark Knight Returns came out, and people went, whoa, Batman is dark. And then they went, okay, you can do it. And then Tim Burton came on board, and they decided to make this film. Decent. I'll put this for. Frank, what's your thoughts on Batman 1989?
Well, these things you have mentioned about, Batman colors and blue, and debating about blue and yellow, or the shadows and stuff. I personally prefer, of course, black Batman in shadows. You just see not except detailed version. The body and stuff. You just see the cape and the bat ears, even the shadows
and the eyes. The eyes that
exactly.
the eyes that will be in the Dark Knight. They're actually bringing in the white eyes to the film version.
I know, yeah, it was great, but yeah, the change they had was completely favoring Batman as a figure, as a more intimidating because the blue one was not as intimidating as was the darker one.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Well, basically, Batman could be taken one of two ways. He could be taken as a comic character with a load of ridiculous villains, or he could be taken as a serious character with a load of psychos, who basically, if they were alive, would be put in the electric chair. Let's face it, the Joker would have been fried years ago if this was reality. No matter how much people wanted to study him and stuff, the Joker would have been fried for the type of sicko he is. But nevertheless, well, the thing about Batman is he's my favourite comic character, and really I'm not a reader of comics, but I read Batman ones because he is just that good. I mean, I prefer him when he's realistic. I prefer him when he's down to earth. I prefer him when he's on his own in Gotham, because that's the appeal of this character. He could exist. That if the police were that incompetent / corrupt, if the city was that fucked, if he really had that much money and stuff, Batman could exist. And that's the thing about that character, is he's always got that touch of realism to him. And that's when he goes about, with the Justice League and stuff like that. It's good, but it's not as good as when he's on his own, in my opinion. Which is why I'm glad the Justice League film was canned. Nevertheless, he's a great character, and Tim Burton recognised it because he likes the whole gothic thing, but then really didn't get the point of the character, really. But this is certainly the best of the original versions of the original series. He turned Batman black. Yeah, I like that. The suit looked awesome. But now the controversy was in Michael Keaton. As people know, he's not 6 foot